Do you know that feeling when you put things off the last minute despite your best intentions? You struggle with procrastination, or you never feel motivated to start that big project even though it's due on Friday? If so, you're not alone.
What if I told you there's a game that's been played online about procrastination? And what if I told you that not only that, it's also science proven? These tips that I'm about to share with you will not only help you stop procrastinating, but it will actually give you a reasons why and the clarity that you need to understand the reason why you procrastinate. Is it an emotional thing that you're going through? Is it something, a character flaw that you have that is based on your childhood trauma? You can actually start using them to help you, and when you start using them to help you, you can actually start seeing a little bit of improvement every single now and then. But before we go deeper into anything, we need to know the reasons why we procrastinate. According to Wikipedia,
procrastination is an act of unnecessary and voluntary delaying or postponing something despite knowing there will be a negative consequences for doing so. The reason why I did this Google search is not because, hey, I like using fancy visual effects, but it's usually because I want you to know that it is not a character flaw. It's something that can be changed. But another thing is that the way we perceive ourselves, our self-image, of how we think of ourselves as a procrastinator can be the reasons why we procrastinate a lot of times. Research shows that the reason why we procrastinate is because we provoke a certain type of emotion that causes us to procrastinate every single time when we are required to do this hardly non-pleasurable task that we don't want to do. When you face a task that is boring, frustrating, anxiety-proven, makes you want to just jump out of your skin, the first thing that you know is that this task that you're about to do is not going to be pleasurable, and honestly it's just going to make you feel like clinchy and all those things. So if you do what any normal person would do if you get home after work, when you know that you have to focus on your business or you want to focus on your productivity, what you can do, the first thing you do, you just go to Netflix and just watch and binge watch videos, because you know the instant reward of that is instant. But if you exercise or do something, it's something that just makes you but you know, exercise and anything is something that can benefit you on the long term, but right now is a pain in the ass.
When we face tasks that we have to do and that can be boring, frustrating, provoking, and actually increase a lot of our anxiety thinking about doing the project, we tend to avoid it because, hey, it's not good, it doesn't feel good, I don't want it, but I know I have to do it, but what do? I go for the instant pleasure, which means I play games all night and feel shit about myself later on. It feels good for that moment, but we know that there are deadly negative consequences that can actually have to that. The negative consequences that can lead to anxiety, but it can actually affect how you see yourself in the mirror every single time and on. You will never see yourself as someone who is confident, someone who does what he needs to do, or someone who does what she needs to do when you can't even complete a single task. Because the moment if you can't complete it, you are basing whatever you can complete based on what you did not complete. So you cannot look through that. Instead of saying I didn't finish the task, you cannot call yourself I'm a failure, I'm a loser, I'm all those things. The author of Cybersynetics, I'm not sure if I'm saying it right. If I'm not saying it right, can you please write down on the below and just tell me what I'm saying wrong? Talks about the fact that our self-image are the reasons why we cannot do those kind of things. Because if you see yourself as the type of person who is always procrastinating, that's what you're always gonna do. No matter how much you try to change or try to do those things, but because you perceive yourself as that kind of person, procrastinate, the person who does this and everything, this will be the underlying desires and underlying consequences of the self-image that you perceive of yourself. That's why it's important to actually change how we perceive ourselves, change the image that we see of ourselves, so that when we want to become productive, when we want to see ourselves as someone who's productive, as someone who does those things. Thank God, these types of things that we are actually going through about procrastination, they can actually be changed with good tools and good strategies that are implemented into your daily routines. They can actually help you move one step forward. Now, before we dive deep into the tips that I'm about to give you, the first thing we need to know, what are the triggers that actually cause procrastination, and do you know them, and can you familiarize yourself with them? Boredom, frustration, difficulty, lack in personal meaning, and unstructured. So every single time when you procrastinate, you can ask yourself these types of questions. Why am I procrastinating? Do I find there's no personal meaning to what I'm doing? Is there maybe a no structure way that I'm doing it? Or maybe do I have to find a way that I can structure this thing in a more wonderful plan that actually accommodates my needs? And the thing is, we often underestimate the time that is required for us to do a certain task. which leads to procrastination. Because for me, for example, since I'm in my gap year phase, the first thing that I was thinking is that I have time, I can do whatever I want, I can binge watch Netflix for close to 6 months, and then when I'm serious I can start my YouTube channel. But when I realized is that the leverage that I have of time, I did not use it for my best interest, because even though I had the resource of time, like say, let's say it like that, I still did not use it because I was not focusing on what was required for me to do. So I had this mentality that, you know what, since I have time, since I can do whatever I want and everything like that, I'm just gonna chill, because you know what, I deserve it, I need to chill. Before you know it, time is flying by, and it's already July. And if you look back, you haven't done anything that you can look forward to and be like, oh my god, honestly, I actually did those things. But there is still time for you to actually work towards and actually be able to do an impact towards it. So yes, you can set alarms, and actually can set alarms to hold yourself accountable when you do not do that. Once you know that, okay, these are the types of things that I'm going to focus for the past 2 hours, you set an alarm, you take your phone, you put it in your room, or maybe like that. And when you do not do that, you actually do punish yourself. You means like, okay, since I did not do that, it means I'm not going to use my phone for 4 hours until I do what I need to do. By doing those things, you know that when you do not punish yourself, when you do not do those things, you are actually kind of reflecting back to the self-image. You're kind of perceiving yourself as a type of person who does those types of things, and we don't want this. The author of Atomic Habits. Next is you write down the cost of procrastination. How is procrastination costing you in your life? Whether it's financial, whatever is health, whatever is, when you write down what is procrastination causing, what is procrastination actually affecting you in your life, doesn't matter if it takes you 20 minutes to write on all the cause that procrastination is affecting you, because every single time when you procrastinate, you can actually look at them and be like, okay, procrastination, if I don't exercise, which means that I might die at 50, I might die at 60, so it's costing me another 20 plus years. I don't know the math, please. I don't know. Sometimes adding a bit of agency or fear into the reasons why procrastination is causing us not to have this kind of things is the thing that's essentially gonna make us reflect back and make us think, oh my god, I really need to act up, oh my god, I really need to do those types of things, which means you're gonna end up having the fear of like, if I don't do these things, this is what procrastination is gonna cause me to become and what is gonna make my life become. So what does it mean? It means that I have to start being productive. It means that I have to start acting. It means that I have to do what is required of me to do. When you add a little bit of fear, when you add a little bit of urgency into it, it can actually can actually be a good advantage for you to use. So you know that sometimes fear can be used in a positive way if you can turn around it and make it into an urgency of like, this is not where I want to end up in like 5 to 6 years, so I have to do this right now so that I can prevent what is going to happen there. Next one is temptation building. Temptation building is, for example, when you combine the good habits and the bad habit that you use. So that, for example, if you want to create a new habit, for example, in one of the books of Atomic Habits, totally recommend that book, is literally amazing. So this can mean pairing the things that you know that you have to do on top of the things that you're already doing, those bad habits. For example, if you want to exercise, you can pair exercising with watching Netflix. So every single time when you exercise means you're gonna be watching Netflix. So you can do both things at the same time, still receive both the pleasure of watching TV and at the same time still receive the pleasure of exercising, because even though it may not be nice, but you know that now you relate exercising with watching TV. Or you can do this thing of listen to a podcast while actually cleaning your house. So in a way, you're kind of forming both good and bad habits and you're mixing them together, so it actually does have a little bit of reward onto it, so that when you want to remove a certain reward, it might not be difficult because it might be attached to it, but in a way, every single time when you want to watch YouTube, every single time when you want to watch Netflix, every single time when you want to do all those type of things, you have a certain urgency to actually do those good habits. For example, if you want to like watch TV and binge watch it, your mind instantly know, oh my god, I feel this urgency, I just feel this like immediate urge to just exercise all of a sudden. And then you know that now you have to exercise. So either you have to choose, you don't want to exercise, means you don't want to watch TV, because now when you exercise, you want to watch TV. So it can be apparent and it can be something that you can use for your own benefit. Sometimes when you find yourself struggling with procrastination, or maybe struggling with holding yourself accountable, even though you follow those types of tips that I actually told you to do, the thing that you can actually do right now is you have to find an accountable partner. Well, if you have friends, families, or anything like that, you can tell them to hold your phone for the whole week. if you don't do what you are required to do. That way, it makes it more challenging for you because you know that you don't want to live without your phone for 1 week, and also it makes them more fun for them because they are also going to be able to follow you around. Because hey, if you have a cool phone, it means that they want to have your phone, and also it means that if they can have access to your phone for a whole week for free, I mean, like, honestly, you know the types of friends that you have, and honestly, you know that if you give them your phone, it's just gonna end up becoming like that. If you don't have friends or anything like that, the one thing that you can do is you can just go to Facebook groups, go to Discord, even go to Reddit, and actually find those niche groups of which you want to actually join and which you want to accomplish a certain task. And by doing that, you can actually just find an accountable person on the group and actually have someone who can hold each other accountable.
Next one is the power of showing compassion. The other thing is, when people tend to procrastinate a lot of times, is that they end up having a very negative self-reflection about themselves and end up perceiving themselves as kind of useless and people who don't do what they know they have to do, which is a bad habit for you to have, because you need to know that you can't just type procrastination into the type of person you are. So you kind of have to separate procrastination. It's like, okay, I procrastinate because I'm bored. I procrastinate because maybe this thing does not have any personal meaning to me, and all those things. When you relate a problem to the reason why you procrastinate, but instead of attaching it to who you are and saying I procrastinate because this is the type of person you are, it's not gonna solve you anything. I think people don't realize that procrastinators, especially current procrastinators, are extremely hard on themselves before and after the task, and rather than getting on with the job, they just go round and round spinning their wheels, she says. Beating yourself because you procrastinate is a vicious cycle that you don't want to see yourself ending up to, because it can lead to a lot of negative self-beliefs about yourself, negative way you perceive how the world is and everything like that, which is not going to be any good to you. Because every single time when you want to build yourself up, you're always going to look through the phase of like, I procrastinate, this is the type of person that I do this thing and every single thing, which you are not. Everybody can change, same as the way we perceive ourselves.
Sometimes watching a productivity video that can actually help you can actually be one of those things that actually stop you from actually doing that. And what do you mean stop you? It's because you're constantly watching those videos, you're getting all the information. Have you ever came to a point where you know that, you know what, I already know what I need to do. I already know what I need to do, but then why do I do that? Well, if you're interested in that, watch this video where I talk about the reasons why self-improvement is actually ruining your life, then you actually think about it.